Okay, here we go for block C. So just like before, we're going to take our handy dandy Elmer's glue stick and we are going to glue this down. Here is our C1 piece, and it is totally big enough to cover that whole area. Way large enough. So C1 is nicely secured. So now we are, since we're sewing on, we want to do C2, we're going to fold on the line between C1 and C2. So we're always going to fold on the line that we're working with. So there we go, it has it folded. I'm going to trim my seam allowance. Went and got my handy dandy larger rotary cutter so it won't be so annoying using the tiny one. Okay, here we go, we have that there. I'm going to grab my next block piece here for C2, and I'm going to make sure that it's large enough on all sides. So if you need to, you can definitely fold up your pieces and take a little peek under there and make sure that it is large enough on all sides, 1/4 inch larger on all sides. Okay, then I'm gonna just hold that and slide it into place so that I can start stitching directly on that line. Okay, ta-da! Here we go, straight all the way across. We have right sides together as always, and that is what we have. It looks really, really good. So now I'm gonna fold that paper back, use my handy dandy add a 1/4 ruler. My extra pieces are kind of in the way. And now I'm going to cut away the excess. And now I have to press this. We got to get that really nice and flat because look at it, just doesn't even want to stay. So here we go. I'm going to get this pressed at the iron here. And then we can move on to C3. So C3's right here. I'm going to use a piece of cardstock. Again, I think it helps to rip the paper before you get to there. Okay, so now that it's ripped, it's going to fold really easy. So I'm going to fold that back, use my add a 1/4 ruler. Look at that, it just stays so nicely when you put it there. Here we go. Ta-da! Now it's trimmed nicely. Grab my next C3 green piece. I'm going to place it right there, and I'm going to check and make sure that on all sides there is sufficient fabric covering 1/4 inch larger than the dark line on all sides, and there is. So I checked that out, everything was good. So I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch all the way on that black line. Okay, there we go, everything is good. We got the whole line stitched, and now we just need to trim away all that excess fabric. Okay, so I'm going to fold again on fold the paper back so it exposes our seam allowance. And there is it, really nice. Check it out. Look at how perfect. Okay, so again, I'm going to press this nice and flat. If you don't press it, you won't get perfect points. You also want to make sure that all your fabric is wrinkle-free and pressed before you start sewing. So now we are going to do C4 and C5. So just like before, we have to fold that paper on that line. I'm just going to go ahead and rip both of these at the same time. That way, when I go to fold them, it'll be super fast and easy, right? So now I'm going to put my paper here so that I can fold this. I'm going to fold this little flap here too. And now I can use my add a 1/4, trim the excess, and I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess of the other side as well, because these two we can do at the same time. So here we go. I'm going to use this, flatten it out, use my ruler, trim it. Okay, so now it's perfect there too. Okay, so now I'm going to take my two approximately 2.5 by 3, or I think it's about 3 inches square. And it's definitely larger on all sides. I mean, you can see that up to the light. It's really, really nice. So I'm actually going to stick a pin in this one to keep it there nice, because I'm also going to fold this one back and place my next piece right here and do these back to back. So that is where I'm going to stitch. I can definitely see that this fabric is larger on all sides. So I'm going to open up my fabric, no, my paper, and stitch all the way across. Oh, my rotary cutter's in the way. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to take out my pin. I'm going to turn this and see how that fabric is not in the way at all. So I'm going to turn it. I'm going to open the paper and I'm going to stitch directly across that whole line. Just like that. Oops, I pushed the cutter too fast. Okay, so now we see that when we open these up, that is our C block. And that is perfect. And since the C block is the exact same as the D block, I don't have to make a video for that, but I will show you, once these are all made and trimmed, how to assemble them together.